Okay, so let's spill the tea on who Blondie Lockes' father actually is. So anyway, guys, welcome back to Fairy Tale Vibes. I'm your host, Ainsley, and if you saw the title, you probably know that this is a theory on how I think King Charming, aka the dad of Daring, Dexter, and Darling Charming, is actually Blondie Lockes' dad, making her part charming. Also, I might start this series of Ever After High mini theories or just Ever After High tangents. Let me know if you guys would like that, because if you guys don't know, I have been working on my main Ever After High series, which is my Ever After High retelling, which I'll link. Actually, I don't know where it links. I'll link it somewhere. But basically, in the Ever After High retelling, there is not enough time to cover every little detail of every little character. I am trying to uncover more details for the retelling and kind of weave things together from the books and the show to show you plot points we may have missed before, and just to put the whole plot in one place, since right now it's kind of spread out between the books and the show. But the thing is, even though I'm trying to put the plot all in one place, I can only do so much. I can only make those videos so long before you guys start falling asleep. And I cannot include every single detail about every single character, so that's why I'm gonna do little tangents like this. So let me know if you'd like to see more of these for other characters. But anyway, let's get into why Blondie Lockes is actually secretly a charming. So there are three main pieces of evidence for this theory. The first evidence is the color scheme. The second evidence is the fact that Goldilocks actually dated King Charming. And the third piece of evidence is Blondie Lockes' family tree. And by that, I kind of mean her secret royal heritage, which we'll get to later. So let's talk about Blondie's color scheme. So interestingly, her color scheme is blue, gold, and a little bit of white sometimes, which, funny enough, is the exact same color scheme that the Charming family has. I mean, Daring and Dexter kind of follow this to a T. Darling does veer off a little bit because she has more silver in her look, she's more of a silver girl. But even with the silver in her look, she does still have a little bit of gold, which actually Darling may be one of the only characters that has mixed metals, because I think Darling is a silver girly, but she has to stick to her family color scheme, which is why she includes a little bit of gold. She also includes a little bit of pink, but hey, Darling's a fun girly. We also know that blue and gold is specifically the color scheme of the Charming family that we see in the show, because if you have seen the episode Blondie Branches Out, which we'll get to this later when we talk about Blondie's family tree, but in that episode we also see the Charming family tree, and we see that there are different Charming families, and basically Daring and Dexter are talking about how they are one Charming family, but they are not related to the other Charming families. And when they show the other Charming families have different color schemes. So one of the Charming families is red and gold, the other's green and gold, and then the Charming family we know is blue and gold. So we know that this color scheme is significant and important to the Charming family in differentiating them from the other royal Charming families. The other interesting thing is most of the characters have the same color schemes as their parents, their royal parent who they are following in the footsteps of, and we can see this when we see Class of Classics. So in Class of Classics, which is the book where kind of Apple and Raven time travel back to see their moms in high school, and in Class of Classics, the one parent who has a different color scheme from their child is Goldilocks. I know some of the other parents may be slightly different, but literally, I'll put up a picture of again, Goldilocks, who's Blondie Lockes' mom from Class of Classics. She's literally wearing a pink dress and a pink bow. I mean, yes, she does have blonde hair, of course, because that's their whole thing. Goldie, Blondie, whatever. But yeah, it's a completely different color, not even close to blue. Pink is completely different. So my personal theory about that is, even though I think Blondie Lockes does not know that King Charming is her dad, which we'll get to later, obviously Goldilocks and King Charming would know that King Charming is Blondie's dad, and I think maybe King Charming kind of donated or requested that Blondie kind of wear some of, the royal Charming color scheme, which we'll also get to that later. Or even if King Charming didn't request that Blondie wore it, maybe her mom had her do that to kind of honor her dad, even though Blondie Lockes doesn't know who her dad is, which again, I think the main reason that Blondie Lockes doesn't know who her dad is, if her dad is King Charming, is because her mom knows that Blondie likes to gossip. In fact, Blondie runs the school's gossip page. So yeah, it would be really bad to tell Blondie that her dad is King Charming, because, you know, maybe she wouldn't blab about it, maybe she'd try to keep it secret, or maybe she'd get really mad at her mom and King Charming for lying about it, and she'd just, like, you know, air them out. So I think Blondie's mom was probably waiting until she's like 18 and graduates from Ever After High to tell Blondie who her dad is, for fear of Blondie deciding to air it out for the drama. And then moving on, let's talk about Goldilocks dating King Charming. So yeah, also in Class of Classics, Goldilocks dates King Charming. And the important thing to note about this is that oftentimes the characters in Ever After High are forced to marry people that they don't actually love for the sake of their destinies. So I do think that King Charming was instructed to marry Queen Charming, who is like the mother of Dexter, Daring, and Darling, for destiny's sake. But I don't think he actually loves her. I think he always loved Goldilocks and still loves Goldilocks. So yes, I do think they continued to have an affair after, he married Queen Charming. But I do think that eventually, you know, Blondie Lockes was born. So now let's get into Blondie Lockes' family tree, because throughout the books and the show and Blondie's diary, she always says she's part royal. And when I say part royal, I don't just mean like royal in the sense that she wants to follow in the footsteps of her mom. No, I mean royal in the sense that she literally has royal blood. Also, like a slight tangent, I get a little annoyed when people are just like, oh, royal, somebody who wants to follow their destiny, because there are rebels who want to follow their destiny. Like Cedarwood really wants to follow her destiny. Rebel is more just somebody who supports if people don't want to follow their destiny, while royals kind of want everybody to follow tradition and follow their destinies. Like, they just want that to be the right way. But also, royals typically actually do have royal blood, because a lot of the royals are also the ones with the good destinies. But that's a little tangent. But yes, Blondie actually believes that she has royal blood, and this is something that is very important to her, and she kind of consistently talks about this throughout the books and the show. In fact, we get the episode Blondie Branches Out, where the characters are assigned to kind of present their family trees. And again, this is where we saw Dexter and Daring present their family tree, but Blondie wants to pretend that she's sick. So like the morning that they are supposed to like present their family trees, Blondie is pretending that she's sick, and Cupid is like, Blondie, what's up? Why don't you want to present their family tree? And Blondie's like, well, maybe it's a little exaggerated. Maybe I'm not exactly royal. And then Cupid's like, if you believe you're royal, just go out there and say that, even if it's not big. And Blondie kind of ends up saying something like, oh yeah, like my mom ruled over the village. But here's the thing, like, Blondie's story is kind of inconsistent. Like, sometimes she says, like, her and her mom are princesses from a distant land. Sometimes she says she has royal ancestry somewhere far off. And also, I want to point out, in the tree that Blondie does show, we don't actually see who her dad is. So what I just want to say is, what if, Blondie does know that she has royalty somewhere in her family line because she has a lot of gold and riches, but she doesn't actually know where those gold and riches came from, and she also doesn't actually know who her dad is, and her mom refuses to tell her. Because my little theory about this is that, again, yes, her parents do know that King Charming is her dad, and a lot of times, like, historically, with, like, kings and queens and, like, the old-timey days, like, if the king had, like, a mistress and they had children, the king would still give those, like, children, even though they weren't, like, legitimate children, he would still give those children, like, riches and stuff. Not as much as the legitimate children who actually had a claim to the throne, but he'd still give them stuff. So my personal theory is that, like, King Charming gave Blondie Lockes and her mom royal stuff, specifically in the royal color scheme, or also just money to buy things in this color scheme, or maybe like Goldilocks just decided that Blondie should wear this color scheme to secretly honor her dad. I don't know what the reason is, but I do think that they have riches, and they have something that makes Blondie believe that they actually have royal blood, whatever that is, whether that's riches or just like a lot of nice stuff. And like, maybe whenever Blondie asked her mom, like, hey, where are all these riches coming from? And her mom's like, oh, we're actually distantly related to royal people. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you when you're older. And then Blondie gets to Ever After High, and again, Blondie's like 15 years old. She's a teenager. She's stressed out. Like, think how stressful high school is for most teenagers. And then also think about the fact that they're like literally scared they're gonna die if Raven doesn't sign the book. Like, it's a very stressful time. So Blondie, I can assume, is just very stressed out, like, with all these changes and all these things happening. And then she's also starting to realize, like, wait, I don't know how I'm actually a princess. Like, my mom's always said I'm a princess, but I don't know how I'm a princess, and she's also freaking out about that. Like, I just imagine it's a very stressful time, which I could see Blondie dealing with all that stress. She's like, I just don't even want to deal with this. I'm just gonna, like, pretend sick and not go to class because I don't even know anything about my family tree. My mom won't tell me anything. But yeah, again, so I don't think her mom would tell her about her actual family tree till she's 18, but I do think she knows that she's somewhat royalty. But I also kind of feel bad for her because that's really stressful to deal with, like not knowing how you're royalty, but knowing that you're royalty and then trying to prove it, and then also everybody thinking you're faking it. Because a lot of the times when Blondie talks about the fact she's royalty, she sounds like very anxious, and again, she's afraid people aren't going to believe her. And I think the reason she's afraid that is because she's afraid people are going to think that she's just like clout chasing. The other important thing to note is that before, like, the current class of Ever After High, like, before we got Blondie, before we got Apple, Raven, Maddie, Briar, all those good people, prior to this, like, the commoners and the royals were segregated. Like, they had different common rooms. So it did mean something if you had royal blood, because then you could go into the royal common room. Also, important note, the rebels weren't created till Raven didn't sign the Storybook of Legends. That's when the rebels were created because they decided to support Raven. But before then, it was just like royals, who were all the rich people, and then the commoners. And again, they had different common rooms. But Blondie always claimed that, you know, this is like my correct common room, like I am royal. So I could also like see that being important to her. But yeah, again, I do think a lot of her stress is just from the fact that she doesn't know who her dad is. But anyway, let me know, you guys, what you thought about this theory. And if you watched till the end, leave 2 emojis. Leave a blue heart and then leave a little bear emoji for our favorite girl, Blondie Lockes. Also, if at any point during the video I accidentally said Goldilocks instead of Blondie Lockes or Blondie Lockes instead of Goldilocks, I'm sorry. I literally just got those 2 names like confused in my head. If I made it through the whole video without confusing them, that would be great. And then also, hopefully next week we can be back with the next part of the Ever After High retelling. But I do think these little tangents are really fun to do, so I can just yap about whatever I want to. And also, I do have a vlog filmed from the Renaissance Fair, which actually you will probably be getting that after this. And then the retelling, hopefully. Also, guys, PS, as you are watching this, the first wave of doll clothing from my doll clothing line is about to drop on my Etsy shop. This is just one of the cute pieces. Definitely go check it out. The link is in the description. But yes, look forward to the Renaissance Fair vlog. And let me know what you think about this theory. I also have other like kind of side tangent video ideas, so let me know if you want any of these. One of my ideas for a side tangent video is just basically like a video where I list all the connections between Ever After High and Monster High. So think like Gigi, think like Astronova, stuff like that. I won't really cover Cupid because, again, there's already a whole video devoted to Cupid. If you want to know about Cupid and her antics between Ever After High and Monster High, go check that out. I also think it would be interesting to do a video about how Milton Grimm is like the villain of Ever After High, but I feel like that may be covered in the retelling. But if you want like a video just specifically about Milton and Giles Grimm, let me know as well. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. It really helps. Subscribe and then comment. And you guys know the drill. You're smart. Anyway, bye guys. Also, all my socials, everything will be linked below. Bye.